Meet the Cult of Admonition. Chaos devotees pledged to the god of pestilence and decay, Nurgle. According to the Cambridge Dictionary, the word admonition means a piece of advice that is also a warning to someone about their behaviour. So these guys, this cult, are basically the Reddit moderators of 40k, right? Well, yes, but no, not really. You may know the Cult of Admonition better as the Dregs from Darktide. They're the ones wearing those beautiful skid-marked mustard robes and boasting a lineup of characters like the shirtless Roid Rager, the Mutant, the Lady Flamer, and a range of monstrosities and abominations. Think Chaos Spawns, Plague Ogrins, Beasts of Nurgles, and so on. But what is the cult really? What is the cult doing on Atoma Prime? Who leads them? How did they originate? What is their motivation? How are they being supported? And why are there so many of them? Well, you might just be about to find out. From what I have gathered, the Cult of Admonition appears to have set up shop predominantly in the lower levels of Tertium, a colossal hive city within Atoma Prime, the esteemed capital of the Mobian domain. While rumours persist about the cult spread into the other hives on Atoma, I can't confirm these rumours just yet, as information from the other hives on Atoma is strictly controlled. What we do know is that the cult has gained quite the following down in the lower hive, earning them the favour of the downtrodden folk who have long suffered under the thumbs of crime lords and warring gangs like the naughty Water Cartel. As their name suggests, the fine Water Cartel boys treated water like it was their personal stash of sparkling vintage wine, restricting its flow and turning it into some twisted form of currency. In the eyes of many deep down in Tertium, the cult became an unexpected yet welcome vigilante force. The cult's swift dispatching of scum and troublemakers transformed them into a sort of Robin Hood figure gone rogue, a vigilante force liberating the masses from the shackles of corruption that had made life in the lower hive just that little bit worse. Likely taking advantage of their newfound hero status and the trust that they had earned, the cult unleashed a powerful plague in the recesses of Hive Tertium, dispersing it through the intricate network of trains, water sources, and other effective means of contamination. This plague, presumably created with the aid of the warp, has an incredibly infectious nature, transforming its carriers into fart zombies known as poxwalkers. These poor souls are not dead, however. They are rather subjected to a state of twisted possession, fully aware of their actions, yet unable to command or control their own bodies. If you listen carefully in-game, you can hear these damned souls talking to themselves and often begging for you to help or kill them. It appears reasonably safe to assume that the plague ravaging Tertium isn't airborne, considering our reject strike teams can penetrate infected zones, slaughter swarms of poxwalkers, and make their escape without real concern of infection. This leads one to speculate that the infection must be transmitted through direct exposure, or perhaps one must encounter the highly concentrated strains of the plague, as we saw aboard the train in one of the earliest game trailers. Given Atoma Prime's role as a key Imperial hive world, supplying the resilient, quality metal crucial for crafting advanced Lemon Rust battle tanks and other key Imperial assets, the planet holds a real strategic value for the Imperium. The planet also serves as the breeding ground for the distinguished Mobian regiments of the Astra Militarum. These regiments are known for their loyalty, endurance, and combat prowess, further elevating the planet's significance and that of its surrounding systems. In response to the growing threat posed by the emergence of poxwalkers born from the plague's contamination and transformation, Sector Lord Margrave, the sovereign ruler of the Mobian domain, made a key decision. He redirected the celebrated Mobian 6th Regiment, known for their heroic feats on the front line against the Darktide, to shift their focus from that fringe war and assist in quelling the cult's insidious influence on Atoma, stemming the tides of Nurgle's corruption and imposing a strict quarantine to contain the plague's devastation within the planet's hive cities. However, unknown to many, the Mobian 6 had secretly fallen to treachery during their harrowing years battling the relentless onslaught of the Darktide. Succumbing to what can only be described as a form of chaotic post-traumatic stress disorder, the corrupted regiment betrayed the very people they had sworn to safeguard, throwing their support behind that of the Cult of Admonition. United with the cult, their once proud mission morphed into a fervent crusade to overthrow Imperial reign on Atoma Prime, propagating the grim truth of Nurgle and chaos to the planet's inhabitants. The Mobian 6th defection was more than just a betrayal. It was a potent demonstration of the cult's ability to sow discord and earn fealty even among the most steadfast and unwavering defenders of the Imperium. This turn of events not only spotlighted the cult as the true naughty boys in this unfolding saga, but also underscored the instability of the Imperium's position on Atoma Prime. As the crisis on Atoma continued to unfold, the sway of the cult surged to new heights, giving rise to an army of sophisticated aberrations and grotesque horrors, each more nightmarish than the last. At the same time, the plague, relentless in its rampage, unleashed continual devastation upon what remained of the populace. This is where we, the rejects, come into play. With the Inquisition's recent deployment of its forces and operatives into Hive Tertium, a frantic race against time has begun, aiming to preserve the Hive City before the cult's corruption becomes something capable of devouring the Hive and what remains of Atoma Prime and the Mobian domain. Anyway, going back to the cult, you may remember at the beginning of this video I defined admonition for you, explaining how it is essentially a warning to someone or something about their behaviour. Well, I think this alone could shed some light on the origins and purpose of the cult. Historically, the upper crust of society on Atoma Prime has been embroiled in an eternal tug-of-war between House Barquette and House Margrave. This rivalry traces back to an uprising led by House Margrave a few thousand years back, aimed at seizing control of Atoma Prime from the grasp of the Barquettes. Could it be that the Cult of Admonition's name carries a deeper message concerning the workings and politics of the planet's upper classes? Might the term admonition allude to a subtle political uprising, a cautionary sign regarding the ruler's conduct? Or might it be intended to be a political statement on the ruling family's treatment of the lower class and other subsets of the Atoman population? To me, it seems very possible that, driven by desperation and a need for power, House Barquette sought to bolster and nurture the burgeoning Cult of Admonition as a means to destabilize Atoma and its sprawling hive cities. Leveraging their connections and wealth, the Barquettes subtly fostered a climate of disillusionment, fueling the flames of resentment and animosity against the ruling order, that being House Margrave. The Barquettes viewed the nascent cultists of admonition as the perfect tool to sow chaos across the system and create an opportunity to wrest power from House Margrave's grasp and restore their own dominance. They would permit the cult to flourish, allowing it to gain strength and momentum, all the while presenting the people of Atoma with an unassailable truth: the Margrave's inability to ensure order and safety. When the right moment arrived, the Barquettes would seize their opportunity to destroy the cult, simultaneously regaining the favour of the populace and removing the politically weakened Margraves from their position of power. In my view, this was precisely the plan and intention of the Barquettes. However, the current situation on Atoma could have spiraled far beyond their initial estimations, exceeding the scope of their calculated plan. The cult, aided now by the formidable might of the Mobian Sixth, has blossomed into an entity far more formidable and pervasive than anticipated. A juggernaut, too powerful, too entrenched, and too vast to be swiftly taken out of play. The cult's influence has likely infiltrated every corner on Atoma, embedding itself with roots so entrenched and far-reaching that destruction seems impossible. Under these circumstances, it appears to be in the Barquette's best interest to act with fake apprehension and powerlessness, mirroring the thoughts and sentiments shared by all those other poor souls involved in this rough situation. With this in mind, it is very interesting to note one small detail mentioned on the Archivum Sycorax map. The infiltration of the fortified deep archive sanctums by the cult is more than just a mere security breach. It is a signpost indicating that they, the cult, receive support from someone within the upper levels of Atoman society. This patron would wield the requisite clearance for the Archivum to make such access possible. Therefore, this little detail reinforces the likelihood of at least one of the great houses aligning themselves with or providing support to the cult within the overarching narrative. The most likely suspect to me? House Barquette. Alright, that's enough lore for you. Go back to Tertium and butcher some dirty heretics for me. Thanks for watching. Dystopian Chimp out.